What is up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop these things every single Sunday. Catch me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and wherever you stream podcast episodes. On today's special Sunday Fresh episode, we have the co-host of Guided by Source podcast, Law of Attraction teacher, and QHHT Certified Hypnotist, Ari. Welcome to the pod.
Hello. Thank you.
Ari, I gave you a mini red carpet. Of course, you could do it so much better, but let us know who you are and what you
Yeah.
got going on.
Okay, so yeah, I'm a host of the Guided by Source podcast, and I do that with Jasmine. And
Shout
we
out to
talk about
Jasmine.
hey Jasmine, we talk about all of like our metaphysical concepts and how we apply them in our life. And
Love that.
we just share our stories and just have so much fun
Well,
doing that.
hmm
I'm also a hypnosis practitioner. I do QHHT, which is past life regression.
Oh,
And
shoot.
it's for like emotional, spiritual, and physical healing. So it's like almost like not almost, it's basically what you would call a miracle.
hmm
People come in with all kinds of ailments, physical ailments, and they'll walk out like even people like who are set to have knee replacement surgeries will like you'll hear the bones cracking while they're in there and they'll be able to walk out with no problems and end up canceling their appointments.
Beautiful.
So
That is
yeah, it's
beautiful.
really incredible. Um, and it's such a blessing to be able to tap into that energy. Like we all have access to that energy, and so like I
Mhm.
just help people tap into their own abilities. um and yeah, I teach law of attraction.
Come on.
So yeah, sorry.
No, I said, come on. Love a good law
it,
of attraction manifestation.
yes, so I'm all about that. So I just love the non-physical world in general, so anything
Yeah.
about it, it always gets me excited.
That's awesome. Jasmine, shout out to you. I know you're listening to this right now. I want to talk about the podcast. I saw you two post. I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking dope. What made, and it makes sense, but first of all, love the name, love the meaning, love the message, love the plot. What made you guys want to like to start a podcast, especially?
Okay, so interesting is a while back, I had like a dream, and as I was waking up from the dream, I saw Jasmine's face flash in my mind, and
Yo.
I heard a voice say, this one, you need to work with this one. And I was like, okay, this is like almost make me like just under a year ago, I had this dream, and I was
Crazy.
like, okay. So I told her right away, I'm like, I don't know what it means, but and she's
Let's
like,
do it.
cool. She's like, I'm sure we'll work together at some point. So flash forward, I we both have our own YouTube pages. So
Yeah.
mine's Attractionspice, as you may know.
Oh, we can talk about
And
that
so
too.
yeah, so we we both have been posting videos on our own, and
Hmm
we just whenever we talk, we just can get into so many deep conversations, and we're always like, we
Yeah.
should just record this.
Yeah.
So there we have it.
Jasmine is freaking awesome. Is it now a lot of the things so people get manifestation law of attraction kind of just like misconstrued as the action part of it, but also like the belief in the vibration. But even just like the little stuff that you
Right.
can like apply in the day to day. Always like if like I don't know like where people are in their journey when it comes to manifesting reality. So I like to like preface like the baby steps because like when I first remembered of our powers. I was like, I want this black A7 Audi. I want this. I want that. And then when it didn't happen, I'm like, oh, is this even like, is this even real? Like like
Hmm.
like soul wise, it feels like I know this to be the truth, but it wasn't. Things ain't gonna manifest like quickly as if he was like in a cartoon. Like things just pop up
Right.
materially.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of one, how is your belief on money? If it is about like material things of money, how's your relationship with that? But then two, it's just I feel like it's like many multi layers that you have to um unravel and dissect. But if anybody like if you're new to your creation journey as the creator, as source guy, whatever you want to call yourself, Um, break it down in baby steps. So like how you start your day. Just be like, I'm gonna have the best day possible. I'm gonna meet three random people who just really made my day. Like make it so realistic that when it does happen, you're like, damn, okay, I manifested that. Or if it's like, I'm gonna see a red car with a 333 on the license plate. So then when you see it, you like,
I
yo,
saw that yesterday.
you saw it yesterday? Perfect.
Yeah.
So when you see it, you like, okay, I know I manifested this. So it's like that you need those like little mini affirmations and confirmation for yourself for you to fully believe like, yo, I create this.
Mm, absolutely. And I think a really interesting thing you said is like that brand new A7. Like
Hmm.
how realistic, like not even how realistic, how much do you believe that that could happen tomorrow?
I didn't.
And if you don't, then you're not going to see it
I
tomorrow.
didn't.
But if you believe that it'll happen, that it can happen
Yeah.
sometime soon, then you start looking for clues on the path toward that thing, and you have no choice but to find it.
Hmm.
But if for some reason you can believe, like if you just wake up and you're like, no, I really believe I could just have it tomorrow, you will see it in your driveway tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
really like how quickly you manifest that thing is basically like how soon you can really align with that belief, and so much is not even a belief, but you surpass belief into knowing.
Oh, that knowing is dangerous.
Ooh.
Like when you like even because it's so cool. Like when like random hiccups happen in your life, and it's not random, of course, but everything's like divine timing. But like I always share the story. Before I moved to England, lost my job, lost my apartment the same week. Normal person would be like, "Oh, my life is falling apart." I'm like, "No, this is great." The bigger the contrast, the bigger the reward. So
Oh
then I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I need to fine tune the because I'll break down reality like this is a play. So the old play, the sets, the props that need to be broken down. So that's that buffer period, what I call it. And the new scene, the new state is being built. That's why you're not experiencing what you want in your reality yet because they're still setting up the actors, the character, what the background look like. So that buffer
Mm,
period is needed. So I'm okay. I want this to be this way. I want this to be that way. But I feel like the true test is when you're able to create a new reality from a certain contrast, and that unwavering that knowing is powerful.
so much. So much. And it's I really think about those times of contrast, like when the big life changes happen. And
Hmm.
it is easy to just be like, woe is me, of course this would
Hmm.
happen to me.
Yeah, what was me?
um but as a powerful creator, you could see that as like a canvas where you get to decide what the
Yes.
next section of your life is going to be like.
Yes.
um I always think of like a butterfly, like a caterpillar and a butterfly, in that period, that time period when the caterpillar is in the cocoon, and it's in between the caterpillar and butterfly stage, it actually turns
Hmm.
into
Yeah.
complete mush. So you would think like, oh my god, what happened to this being? It's just mush. But really, it's
Hmm.
it's on the stage of becoming the next version of itself, the more powerful expanded version of itself.
Exactly.
And so when I move through contrast, and like odd, like not oddly enough, but like I'm in the middle of like one of the biggest changes in my
Hmm.
life. And at first it just seemed a bit annoying, and then more
Yeah.
things kept happening, and then I thought I wasn't fooled this time. I was like, oh, my
Yeah.
big manifestations are on their way. So
Yep.
now I'm just excited through it. I'm not scared at all. And like
No.
that knowing has given me so much. So it just feels so like blissful. I'm not terrified. I just
Mhm.
feel like, all right. And I can just find delight in the smallest things.
Come on.
And it's just and I'm starting to see now it's starting to come back together, and it's starting to
Yeah.
be exactly what I want it to be.
Ah, that's that
So
surrendering. That's that
it's incredible.
surrendering. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so because guys, you if you can like think of like the most random, like inconvenient thing that happened in your life, right? And naturally, as a human emotion, you're like, oh man, why me? Fuck, like wrong timing. But when you surrender and you don't react to it, you just observe it. Because no, like we ought to like, gosh, just nothing happens just by random chance. It's all happening in a divine order, divine timing. But we don't know how the big play is being revealed. So if you can like just look at it as a game like you did, or be like, oh shit, I know how to pass this test this time. I was looking at it from a different perspective, but I know that this is
Hmm.
setting me up for the big manifestation because maybe not saying this how how your situation was, but like maybe it was like, okay, what you vibrated, maybe your current reality just, of course, it wasn't in alignment, right? So that event that happened was needed to shake you, to shift you
Mm.
to the next one, and you're able to see that, which is powerful. And not look at it from a
Yeah,
victim
absolutely.
mentality, but the lenses of the
Absolutely.
creator.
I can definitely like I'll share my situation. I basically like I've been working the same job for like 4.5 years,
Hmm.
and like I hated it. I wanted to get out of it. And I tried to so many times, but then I got scared and then I went back.
Yeah.
And the last time that I had gone into work, I just said to myself, I'm like, I actually hope I get fired because that way I'll finally move on and do what I really am meant to do. And that night I
You
got
got
fired.
fired.
And as soon I was never mad at anybody in the situation. I was like, yep, I just manifested that. And I was just happy. A little bit like now, okay, like now what? Like I'm kind of
Fuck
like free
yeah.
falling. But
It's scary though. And then I mean, of course you don't have to be like, you don't have to, share too much, but the next stage of your experience, do you see it like clear as day? Is it like, ah, okay, I know.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just like it there's I've had other offers for different jobs that like I
Hmm.
were they were like the kind of like the shiny new job, like with
Yeah.
like big pay salary. But I'm like, oh, that would be so easy to just jump onto that. But it would
Yeah.
basically be jumping out of the same thing into something else,
Exactly.
like, and I had to, and it didn't actually distract me. I thought about it for a bit and I was like, I know I don't want that. I know
Hmm.
I don't want that. No, I won't be happy. And so it's just, and that's how I know it's because something that I
Yeah.
think would feel safe didn't really feel safe to me. So
No.
yeah.
Jasmine helped me with this because I'm working sales and it's a roller coaster. And
Mm,
she's always like, I just script. And I'm like, just scripted the exact details of like what you want with the role. So because I couldn't work for a good chunk of time until my visa got approved. So during that process, I want to work with some dope people who just like lighthearted, fun, funny. It don't feel like work. Just feel like I'm coming in just like chat and chill. I can work on my podcast stuff, work on little stuff, and that's literally what I'm able to do now. But guys, you just have to be descriptive and as detailed as possible, and you gotta believe.
hmm
Like, people don't be believing. You gotta believe.
hmm
You gotta be delusional.
Yep. Yeah, the thing that I get caught up sometimes, like, is when it comes to like describing exactly like the details of something.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm like, the details don't they can like if they feel good to put them together, the
Yeah.
details, like put as many details in there. But if it starts like being like too many choices or like I don't even know, or you get
Yeah.
distracted or like you make excuses, what I tend to do is like think, how do I want to feel?
Hmm.
How do I want to feel when this
Mm,
manifests? How do I want to feel? And then I follow that feeling. So let's say like this
mm,
new job, I want to feel freedom. So I follow freedom in my life wherever it would be.
right.
Freedom and enjoy my freedom in other ways, like freedom to be able to drive around my city in my car, or
Hmm.
freedom to go places whenever, or freedom to follow my schedule that I wrote for myself. Like, and enjoy that freedom. And that's kind of like the
I never thought
breadcrumbs
about
on the
that.
way. Yeah. It's like it's almost as if like if you're walking through like a video game and like the thing you're supposed to click on lights up. It has that same vibration as that feeling
Oh, that's
of your
dope. That's dope.
manifestation.
That's
Yeah.
dope. I need to write a
And you
lot
never know
what
which
that
way you're
looks
gonna go.
like.
The path is winding.
It is. You think it's one way,
So
but it works out even better than you could have freaking imagined. That's the best part
every
though.
single time.
Because like even if you did write down whatever it is as detailed as possible, source like, nah, I got something better. You wrote this, thank you for the blueprint, but I can like tweak it just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I see things that you can't see from this perspective. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part.
Yep. Oh my gosh, it is. Because if we already knew everything, how much fun would we really be having?
That'd
We
be
kind of we kind
boring.
of want to be surprised, right?
It's like Christmas. You wanna like yeah, you know you probably getting a Nintendo Switch, but you don't know what games you're getting with the Nintendo Switch. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't know the details of
Exactly.
it. Yeah, if you knew everything that you was getting, it would be like, or if it like this happened, my big thing, like if you could have everything that you wanted right now, what's the point of us experiencing this reality? Like it's just pointless.
Exactly.
It's pointless.
Totally.
Like let's say for example, guys, like you want to be, I guess the standard thing, I want to be, want to have a lot of money or like I want the career or I want the life. And let's say, yeah, you instantly manifested. You missed out on three people that became your best friends or three people that, connected you with different avenues. You could have went on a trip to
Mm-hmm.
Thailand during that time span, had a whole experience. Like this thing that in between the journey is more important than the destination, what I'm
Yeah,
learning.
100%. 100%. And the destination is it's really like I really feel like the destination is the feeling, you know?
Mm,
Like you really only want those things to feel a certain way. So
yeah.
if you can find those feelings wherever you are, it's like you're already there.
And even like just the attitude of gratitude. Cause like another had another amazing guest on the show called Gigi. She taught me how to appreciate like okay, we all have crappy jobs. I mean, realistically, we don't want to go to work, like realistically. But we gotta make money. But while you're in those situations, if you could just like find a joy in it, like I get to blah 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 blah, but just appreciate where you are at. Not saying yeah, be complacent and like I'm gonna be here for another year or two,
Hmm.
but it's like express gratitude for where you are. But then you like, you know what? It'll be really great too, and then fine tune what the next role or whatever it is, instead of looking at it from like, oh, I
Yes.
gotta go into this negative ass job. I gotta small talk with these people I don't really care about, and this it ain't starting your day off right, and that's why you're experiencing why you experience.
100%. And that's the thing. It's like if you're in that mind of negativity, you're not even gonna be able to script what the next thing looks like.
You
You
can't.
probably end up getting into the same situation, just
Same,
different characters,
same
different
situation,
actors, same
different characters,
characters.
different actors.
Yeah. So it's like, but if you're in that attitude of appreciation and gratitude, then you can see clearly what you like about that and what you want to bring with you about that, and everything else you're like, yeah, it doesn't matter, we can leave it here,
That's
and you can clearly script your next step. So
uh this is absolutely beautiful. I'm always curious, like with people with consider everybody coming on the show a co-host at this point. Like how did your spiritual journey like start? Like what made you remember or like what was like the trigger event that made you dive into
mm,
this deep ass rabbit hole?
interesting. I don't feel like I have a specific moment where I was like, oh, like I had a couple of like insightful thoughts and the more I get into it, the more I realize how much I was getting ready to be ready for
Ooh.
this from way back when I was really, really young. I don't even remember how old I was. I just remember thinking, I'm like, if you do something bad, it'll go all the way around the world and come back to you. And if you do
Hmm.
something good, and I must have been like, honestly, like 3 or 4.
Whoa.
And I remember thinking that. And then I like there was like so many little things that like would just like, but I'd never really like thought about being spiritual,
Hmm.
up until a couple of years ago. Um, I guess when I started getting into law of attraction, I wanted to manifest
Hmm.
more money and
Yeah.
romantic relationship. And I was like, the old way's not working. So,
Yeah.
what else is there? And it just explains so much for me.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's
That's
funny. It was just increments. It was never like a big like
a
boom. And I was like, oh,
candidate
this is
event.
something I already was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful. It's those many moments. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like this journey, um, I don't know, it's just a beautiful journey. Like when you break down like the things, I mean, of course, everything isn't like sunshine and rainbows, but even like the dark times, like it all happened how it needed to for your
Oh,
journey.
yeah.
If that didn't happen, you wouldn't have found the new, awareness that you have. Yeah, like yeah, of course, like oh, I wish it. But then you can't say that. You can say, "Oh, I wish I didn't have to experience that to have this awareness." But sometimes it is that major triggering things. It's multiple things.
Hmm.
To give you that newfound awareness. I don't know. I've had too many. I call it blessings now because at this point I completely surrender. Um. Oh, guys, side note, because I feel like this is popping up, so I need to share it. Airport anxiety is the perfect way to to uh surrender into what's supposed to happen. I've had many instances
Mm.
traveling and oh no, I take back that affirmation. I had instances in the past where I had airport anxiety and I was gonna miss my flight and just me saying, Source, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. I'm gonna surrender. Because realistically, you can only control so much. I can't control the Uber going faster. I
Yeah.
can't control if I'm gonna make the flight. I mean, I can't control to an extent, but it's just like when you fully surrender, it's like, okay, I'm being guided at all times. It's pointless. The only thing you need to do is just hold the vibration and just know everything is gonna be okay regardless. That's your only job. Let
Mm.
the magical other stuff do its job.
Yeah, certainly. And when like let's say you end up missing your flight,
Hmm.
there's bound to be something there for you.
Hmm.
So if you miss your flight, then the next flight you're gonna be on, maybe you'll meet somebody who will change your life
Exactly.
forever.
Exactly.
Maybe it'll save your life. You don't know. There could have been
You don't
poison
know.
in the food, or the plane could crash. I don't want to scare anybody
Yeah,
telling
but
you
is
that
it?
kind of stuff, but it's always for your highest benefit. Like even the other day, I left my headphones at home when I went to the gym,
Oh,
and
that's the
immediately I was like,
worst.
"Oh, maybe I'm supposed to have a conversation with somebody." And like
See?
I didn't think, "Oh shit!" Like why would I do that? I was like, "I wonder why I did that. What's in it for me?"
That one random time you left your headphones. Like, yeah, I need to think like that when I leave my headphones because I'm miserable. I'm like, I don't want to listen to this commercial music and that's the last that's the last thing I would have fucking listened to. But it's so this journey is beautiful, man. This journey is absolutely beautiful. I know that
Yeah,
I want to get into the past life regression and hypnosis. I find that very,
yeah.
very important. Guys, okay, sidetrack. If you want prolific dreams, don't smoke weed. When I started back smoking my normal dosage, my dreams aren't, I can remember it, but not as detailed and heavily. Like when it gets to a point where your dreams where you can like for me anyway, I can like go from start to end. I know what happened, blah, 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 blah. And it's as detailed and as clear as if me walking through this reality. Because dreams are another reality that we just tapping into, similar to this one. This should get deep, guys. Anywho, I'm curious though, with your work with past life regression, what have you found? What's like the stories that you've heard? Like I found past life regression so interesting.
Okay, so I actually when we were talking about like choosing to see these perceived negative things as
Hmm.
somehow positive and learning from that, I think that like past life regression has shown me why these quote unquote bad situations are so necessary. Because after you've gone through a couple of lives trying to figure out the same lesson, you kind of get sick of having to die to learn it.
Yeah,
So you think, okay, like let me just do it while I'm alive and then see what fruit comes from learning that lesson.
yeah.
And 100 times out of 100, it's it's how do I react to the situation with unconditional love? That is always the
Mm,
lesson. Um, and that is like when people talk about clearing karma, it's because for whatever reason, whether they're the victim or the perpetrator, or whether they wanted to have children and they didn't, or whatever, it was because they didn't act with unconditional love. They
mm,
hated the perpetrator, or they were cruel to the victim, or if they didn't have children, they were mean to themselves for not being able to bear children. And there was always that source of losing a piece of themselves while down here on this plane
mm,
and wanting to come back and get it.
mm.
And all it takes is just simply realizing that it's all about love. And you don't have to go through it lifetime and lifetime and lifetime again. You don't have to go through the same, even in one lifetime, someone will go through the same situation over and over.
Yeah.
Become homeless and then get placed and be homeless again and get placed. It's like, what is it that I'm not learning in this? And it's how can I act with unconditional love every single time?
Damn, that's crazy when you break it down like that. How can I react with unconditional love? So let's break this down. Okay. A situation happens and instead of reacting with conditional love, or even to say like the child example, like I'm not able to have children this life, so I'm beating myself up about it. Maybe if you just hold that space of unconditional love and not reacting to it from another way, maybe things could be different. Maybe then it may still happen, but maybe you're still clearing that way for a next life. Maybe that
Hmm.
was the reason why you're
Hmm.
supposed to, come back. Do you think, I'm always curious about this. Is this like, do you think it's the same bodies, same characters uh every lifetime? Or you think it's like, okay, I'm gonna
No,
be the
no,
the sister this
no.
time?
Yeah, it may be like you may come back in a completely like different character, but the the game rules will be pretty much the same. Um,
Mm,
I'll give you an example of like a regression that I had done for myself. Well,
hmm.
another practitioner did for me. So my experience with my regression. So in a previous lifetime, I was a man. I lived in some sort of like medieval time.
Wow.
And immediately as we got into the scene, I saw a castle. So I thought like, oh my God, like I was a royal person or, but then as we got closer, more details started coming out, I realized like I worked for the castle and I was not like highly esteemed at all. I was very unhappy working for them. They abused me. Um, but for whatever reason, like I either couldn't or wouldn't leave that
Mm,
job or that position.
yeah.
And I hated them. And so the person who was in charge of me, he was not royal, but or he was part of the royal family, but he wasn't like
Yeah.
the king. So he liked to abuse his power over me.
Yeah.
And so one day he pissed me off really badly, and I said the next time I see him, he's gonna get it. And when I saw him, spit in his face, I got
Okay, as you
dragged off to the
should.
dungeon.
Minus that part, minus the
Maybe,
dragon part.
as I should, but really that's not acting with unconditional love.
Okay.
I got dragged off to the dungeon, and I remember saying like I spit in his face, and immediately like I started crying. I could feel the emotions of just feeling like that's not the reaction that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like I imagined they would like fight with me and I'd get to tell them a piece of my mind and they
Yeah.
would say like, oh, you scum, and nothing. They didn't acknowledge me. They locked me in the dungeon and I died there,
Damn.
starved to death. And
Jesus.
yeah, and it was interesting because later in the regression, my higher self was contacted and was
Mm,
asked why I had to see that particular lifetime. And it was because I needed to see that if I'm basically doing the same thing in the current job, I hate them. I have like anger. I feel like I can't leave. And I'm kind of blaming like situations, maybe not the people that I work for, but they're basically the same. They abuse their power and it's kind of the same situation. So it's up to me to remedy that situation in this lifetime, which I, as you know, as I explained earlier, kind of
whoa. Okay.
I'm in the middle of doing.
Damn.
So
Okay.
have done.
So by you doing this in your current reality, so you said basically I hope I get fired at some point with this
Yeah,
one. So I guess that's the unconditional love uh in a way versus like I'm gonna do something to make you know that I'm unhappy. And I don't want to say it's
right,
validation, but you're looking for a certain like, I guess like, what am I trying to say? You're looking for something, to
right,
justify or look like, okay, hey, I'm sorry that you feel this way about your job. I'm sorry that you feel that you hate this place, blah blah blah. So you're looking for that, I guess not like apology in a sense, but like
Yeah.
that
Or
whatever it is
like
you're
we've
saying.
been jerks. We've been treating all
Yeah,
our employees terribly. Like, oh my gosh, like we should just give you a bunch of money and like
yeah.
apologize and but that's not who they are. And
That's not
and
no
to,
no.
for me to even expect that, like it's not even who I am. So like
Yeah.
I think that for like it's who I am to kind of like want to leave or to like I think my path of least resistance was to get fired
Mm,
because it was terrible but comfortable enough that I stayed you know
yeah.
so it was definitely it was that, but I think the part about unconditional love is when they fired me was to not be angry at what they at that they did that,
Mm-hmm.
um and to not be angry at myself or anyone in the situation, just to show love and think like this was all right. It was meant to be. It was meant to happen, and just look at it like that. And also like unconditional love for myself, and knowing that like I really do have more to offer the
Mm-hmm.
world, and now is my time to really work on those things
Mm-hmm.
and share those things. Which was also in that past life, I had other passions, and I had
Oh.
some more understandings about spirituality, and I tried to tell everyone in my family and my friends, and no one wanted to hear it. They were like, so, and now I feel like I have another chance again to start sharing those things and really trust in that belief in myself that I can do that. So
How wild is that though? Like had
yeah.
a medieval experience where you was going through I mean it's this one they're both mentally, but I'm pretty sure back then it was like a shit ton more worse than what we experience it now with like working for like unfavorable conditions. But just that little pivot that you had with looking at it from unconditional love, like when you said, paraphrasing, but you know, I hope I get fired from this shit. Like the unconditional love you have with even being able to say that, knowing that you'll be taken care of regardless, and it wasn't
Yes.
coming from a fearful standpoint, like,
Yes.
you know what, because we always have a choice, right? Like we may not feel like we have a choice, but we always have a choice to pivot and switch to something else. But you able
100%.
to you able to do that with the creator mindset of I'm gonna be okay regardless. Yeah, it's a bit scary, like who wouldn't be afraid? But it's a gazillion jobs out here. You can manifest
Yeah.
the specific details you want. Um, life is your canvas.
Yeah. 100%. And I honestly what like it like there's a bit of fear of like how am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna get things done? Of course. But I think what's more terrifying to me, absolutely like just gut wrenching, is thinking about doing something that I hate for the rest of my life and
Oh,
never coming to that full self-realization. That is terrifying to me. And
oh
that's
man.
and that's what makes me want to make that jump.
And
So
so many people do that. Like they stay in the things that make them uncomfortable or that they
mhm,
hate. And it's like you don't we always have a choice.
yeah. But
Don't think you never have a choice.
they'll get another lifetime to do it again. They'll figure it out eventually, like it's
You know what's
okay.
you know
If they
what's
stay in
funny?
that job or whatever forever,
Yeah.
or that relationship or whatever they're afraid to leave, like they'll get a chance next lifetime. It's all
We'll redo it.
good.
Because I always think about like when you look at your life review and like it's gonna look like it's in a blink of an eye, but like when we going through this experience, it seems like it's forever. But it's like no, when you're looking at it from a bird's eye view, like okay, I tweaked on this part. This is why I tweaked that. If I when I come back,
Hmm.
I'm I'm not gonna tweak on
Yeah,
this part. Oh,
exactly.
that's powerful. It's kind of wild though to think like you experiencing yourself like you said, you was a man in a previous life. Like those things, that's probably like they're probably like throw people for a loop. But it's just so interesting. Like we're not these we're not these bodies. Well, we these bodies, but we're not the same character. I just find
Hmm.
that so fascinating. Find it so
Yeah.
fascinating.
Actually some I heard somewhere recently, and I can't remember exactly where. I wish I could so I can tell you.
Yeah.
But basically the concept that was shared was many people experience this when you're dreaming. Someone someone close to you will be in the dream, but they'll be like a different person. And you're
Mm.
like, you were in the dream, but it wasn't you. And that's kind of like what it's like knowing someone from a past life or even like yourself in another life. It's like it's you, but it's not you.
Mm, okay.
Have you ever experienced that?
I've experienced. Okay. So you're making me think. I've had dreams where it's a normal setting and I'm talking with people who I have no idea who you are. But that character that I'm, it's still me is Richard, but that character, I know you somehow. So you're making me think now. Was that somebody popping through from a previous life?
Yeah,
Same character that's presenting the message? Now you got me thinking.
yeah, I think that is evidence of other people that are not in our physical lives now that we do know from other lives.
Hmm.
I get that one as a lot as well. I'll just see people and I know them. I like know them, like really know them, but like
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you their name or anything about them here on like 3D Earth
Yeah.
at this time. So
What do
yeah.
you, let me ask you, because dreams, now I have dreams where some of them are like visions. I have dreams where just like random stuff is happening. Um, And then I have dreams of like this random stuff. From your experience, like, do you see dreams as like alternate realities? Is it messages coming through? I probably could be like many, many things, but the more we talk about past life regression and like dreams and stuff is really making me think like, is it what is a dream at this point? Now I'm just
Mm.
questioning everything.
I think a dream is kind of like an umbrella term for when
Hmm.
your conscious mind kind of goes to sleep because you can reach so many different states of consciousness when your conscious mind is asleep because your
Hmm.
conscious mind kind of wants to control everything. But
Right.
when you let that kind of simmer down a little bit, there's so many different things that can happen. You can be astral projecting.
Hmm.
You can be having visions of like the future. I often I have dreams where I'm kind of like basically practicing for the next day. Um, I'll have
Whoa.
the exact same thing happen in the following day, and it's never like that. I
That's
can think of like
dope.
there's one that I was like maybe I really need to keep my eye out, but for the most part, like it's really just like a mundane day. Like I have to go to the post office and like, you know, like I try to get to the post office, but the bridge is up, so I have to wait. Like stuff like that. Like it's never like anything like alarming, but like when I do remember them, like, oh yeah, like I definitely dreamt this part.
Oh, this is creepy. I was watching,
Yeah, and
went
then
to,
we could do all
sorry, no,
kinds
go,
of
go.
things. A lot of people have jobs, like their soul has jobs. So when your body's asleep, your soul is not. And like I know like I help people cross over. Like I'll find
Wow.
people who don't realize they're dead and help them pass to the afterlife.
Can we talk about that?
Um,
It's not to, sorry to cut you off. Can we, because I hear and see things about that. I'm always wondering like what makes them confused that they're dead and that maybe like something like an event happened where they it just happened so quickly and you're still thinking like I'm still in this
yeah.
body. Like what makes them so confused? Like, okay, I'm actually dead and I need to cross over.
Yeah, so it's often it happens really quickly
Yeah.
and they don't realize that they've popped out of their body. It's often that
Crazy.
like not like it can be like even someone who's been in hospice for a long time, for example, and they just
Hmm.
thought they were sleeping.
Damn, I
But
never thought
what
about that
happens,
way though. I could
yeah, and
see
a
that.
lot
I
of
could see that.
times like spirits. So let's say they're trying to interact with us,
Hmm.
right? And then they realize, oh, we're not answering them anymore. Then they're just like, why is everyone ignoring me? Like that's so weird,
Mm,
you know? And like it, I guess because they're kind of asleep too. Maybe it doesn't clue in.
yeah.
But yeah, and then they think we're spirits. You know, like if your house is haunted, for example, and the
Yeah.
ghosts are like you feel like the ghost is trying to scare you because they think you're a ghost. And you're like, get out of my house. You're
Yo, yeah,
terrifying me.
I heard of that because it's so true. Like you'll have your stories about haunted house, and you can like literally feel um a presence or like little things happening, and you're like, why is this? Because like for example, could be some old man who, like you said, died in his sleep. He wakes up, he's thinking, okay, this is how it was before I went to sleep. Now there's some family in my house. Like, no, go away. This is, and that's probably why you being haunted in that moment because it's like he's like,
Mm,
no, get out my fucking house.
yeah. And it's not like a sinister evil spirit. It's like
Yeah,
it's a normal person,
just
without a
confused.
body, but like they're just terrified and they're like, "Ooh, get out!"
Why can't you hear me? Like, why is it like, oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I
A
definitely
lot
want
of people, they because they are vibrating so low, they also get stuck here.
to. Mm,
They don't have
okay.
enough like vibrational momentum to get them to ascend,
Mm-hmm.
because they're holding on to a lot of emotions, negative
Mm,
emotions. And so like and a lot of people have like very like strong addictions,
yeah.
alcohol, tobacco, like any like hard drugs, stuff like that. So they're stuck here trying to get more of that and fill that. And so that's a lot of times when you have to help someone ascend, is giving them that like burst of love and like knowingness that they'll be able
Mm.
to ascend. And so like if you give them some love, you kind of help them raise their vibration so they can go up.
So love is the answer, even like in the most small
Always,
sense.
always, not even just here. It's like
Damn.
the entire universe is it, that's like the fabric of the universe.
Oh, you're making me
So
think. So like even like if somebody's like being mean to you, for example, um, like I've come across people who just like rude and like kind of like stuck up and entitled out here. And in my mind, I'm like still giving you unconditional love. One, I don't know your program, and two, maybe me smiling is maybe just gonna help you have a different perspective.
yeah.
It could be like little breadcrumbs, but I think about that little stuff like when somebody is like a toddler throwing a tantrum, yeah, it's expressing itself because of something. Yeah, it's doing some obscene things, but at the core, all they're saying is like, I just need love in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
always. And we have to give ourselves some grace because we're really just all
mm,
children. Like how how do we know? You know, like how do we know that like what to do or how to act? Or like
yeah.
there's no
It's,
like I mean like of course they're like religious texts and stuff, but they're so cryptic. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do we do in these situations? You know, like
But it's all perspective wise. Like the encryption could be like, okay, for example, be kind to others, right? That could be like
mhm.
one of the messages, but it's
I mean that's
layers
not
and different
cryptic, that's pretty.
perspectives. Okay, but it can mean many different things that, like somebody's mean to you. Yeah, at that moment, I don't really want to be kind, but the perspective and awareness that you're looking at it from is like, okay, I need to because that is an extension of me and they're operating from a lower frequency. I know what's going on. So I'm not giving you unconditional love. I'm giving you conditional love. Source God doesn't look at it from that perspective. When somebody robs a bank, Source isn't like, oh, you're a freaking terrible guy. No, that's
No,
your free will. You choose to
no.
operate how you are. I still love you.
Yeah. And you're this is the thing. Your source is always looking at every situation with unconditional love. So
Hmm.
you're looking at that situation with conditional love
Yeah.
is disconnection from source.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So, well, not disconnection, but it's disagreement with
It is a
source.
disagreement. Yeah.
And your ascension is basically based on how much you can be in agreement with source.
Mm.
So
What
if
would
you're
what would Source
constantly
think in this moment?
exactly,
What would
this is
Source
for
think?
my benefit. And source
Oh,
is so intelligent. It will not only deliver to me in that moment, it'll deliver to every other person's desire in that moment in different ways. So
mm,
whenever you act out of unconditional love or when you believe and know in your desires and that they'll manifest, like the manifestation of your desire is also like let's say you're Audi, right?
hmm.
The person who sells you that Audi, that's their desire to sell that Audi. The
Right.
people who build it, it's their desire. The person who designed it, it's their desire to have their design driving down the street.
Yeah.
Your family members, when you pick them up, they're going to be having a great time. These are fulfilling so many different desires in one. It's not just your
Damn.
own desire.
I didn't think about that. Because you pick up a
So,
family member, they're like, oh, I've never, like this like random scenario, I've never been in a nice car before. Like you fulfilled a
yeah,
desire of mine to be in a nice car, or just understand like, hey, I know how you grew up, or I know your situation. you were able to do this, maybe that's a spark and a seed planted for you to have a newfound awareness. Like I feel like it's many
Exactly.
facets of this.
Hmm.
Oh,
And it's like it unfathomable because it just ripples, ripples and ripples and ripples.
that is
So
freaking powerful. This thing get this reality gets deep.
yeah, and when you think about how that ripples, it's harder to stay stagnant, and it's harder to like live in your security because you
Hmm.
realize that like how much benefit you can give
Yes.
to the world just by being you, just by doing what
Yes.
you feel you're made to do.
And even just like, cause I feel like even just when I feel like when you first start your journey of self and you're nervous to express. I remember a time like before I was like really hesitant with like posting about the things I post about now, just out of fear of like my old self and those characters and how they would perceive me. But now when I
Mm,
look back at it, it's like you actually need these messages. You may not agree with every single thing I say, but
right.
there's resonance somewhere where you're like, this person may not be too far off. But it's the braveness, and you being vulnerable and just living in your truth, which is a powerful thing. Like just forget how other people feel. Even it's like you and well, I mean, obviously you was with your YouTube channel, you was talking about these things before, but even just like you and Jasmine is starting a podcast, it's people who are afraid to start a podcast and talk about spirituality, talk about law of attraction, posting in front of their friends and family just out of fear of being judged. It's like, no,
Mm,
forget all that. Forget all that. Do your job. This is what one of the things you're meant to do. Spread
mm.
that love and wisdom.
Yeah, I think I definitely it's funny like I've 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 gone from a fear of being judged to being very mindful of who I'm judging. I if people judge me, I can't be angry at them. I just have to love them because it's just that they don't know
I don't know.
or they're not willing to be themselves. So
Or they're
me
not
being myself
ready.
is
Like you're
irritating them a
triggering
little bit.
them. You're trigger.
Yeah,
Oh, don't get me
but
started.
I just want to be that beacon. I just want to be that person who's like I was myself. And there are a few people who are ready to shine their light as well, and they'll be like, oh, that inspired me to turn my light brighter. I just want to be that person. And if people judge me and they're not ready to hear it, then I'll just love them. It's okay. They don't need to hear it right now. One day, one lifetime, they will.
Yeah.
So
Even I
I
even
will just let them.
I even challenge that. I think they won't admit it to you. I mean, for obvious reasons, ego wise and stuff like that. But you showing up as your authentic self is gonna make force them to look at themselves like this person is showing up every day as this self, right? And they're not forcing it. They're not like I see they're not miserable, but like why? And they judge you, and I won't say they hate you. Hate is such a strong word. They judge you and they critique you and they laugh at you because like I wish I was that brave to show up as authentically me as possible, but I'm afraid of
Yeah,
being judged. The same way I'm judging you, I'm afraid of being judged. So I'm nitpicking on
right.
you. But in retrospect, you are my hero in this moment because you're, inspiring me. You're making me think about certain things. There's just many layers with this.
100%.
I love this game of life.
Yeah, it's a great game. I'm having some fun with it.
Well,
I
don't
do have to start wrapping up
no, off
in the next like couple minutes, so
that is
just
totally
a
fine.
heads up.
Ari, I always ask this last question to my guests.
Okay.
What would your message be to humanity during this time?
Um, I think yeah, my message is unconditional love. Like ask yourself every day like how even if you don't feel like you did your best in a situation,
Hmm.
ask yourself how can I look at this with unconditional love? And you'll be surprised at what the answers that come to you are. And it will I think I think it'll be great. So yeah, that's my message.
How can I look at this with unconditional love? Guys, you heard it here first. A fresh Sunday episode for you all. Ari, I thank you so much for being on this podcast. I will provide Ari's links below to follow book an appointment, support, etc. It's a dope episode. Next episode, guys, you're gonna have me, Ari, and Jasmine. It's gonna be a powerhouse source God episode, and I can't freaking wait. Jasmine, shout out to you. I know you're listening. Ari, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for putting this together.
Talk soon, guys.
Okay.